What's going on, guys? Professor Nick here. Today, I want to tell you how to be productive when you're lazy. Look, the best of us get lazy, and even the highest performing people sometimes struggle with motivation. So it's not just you. But when you're studying and you really have to perform highly and you just don't feel like it can be quite taxing. So today I'm going to share with you 7 tips that are going to help you to study and be productive when you're just not motivated. The first thing is to get to the cause. The best way to solve a problem, honestly, is to just prevent it altogether. If you can get to the root cause of why you're unmotivated, that's going to help a lot. So why is it that you're feeling lazy or not motivated? Are you studying the wrong thing? Maybe your parents want you to be a doctor and you want to be a dance or theater major. That's going to make it really hard for you to study and be productive. Do you just not have energy? Are you really tired because you haven't slept in 2 days? You've been eating Buffalo Wild Wings for the past 5 days and crushing 6-packs of Natty Light. That might cause you to feel a little bit unmotivated. So really examine the cause. The second thing you can do that is really powerful in overcoming this lack of motivation is to develop strong routines and habits. Those tasks are delegated to another part of the brain, which is the basal ganglia. The basal ganglia is where you have these long-term behaviors integrated and cemented into personality traits. So if you develop routines, rituals, habits, things that you do over and over, it's going to make it much easier. It's really hard to convince yourself to do something when you don't feel like it. But if your basal ganglia, if that very primal and root part of your brain is programmed to do that thing already, it's going to be a lot easier. So try and study at the same time every day, for the same amount of time every day, in the same place, maybe even listening to the same music. The more that you can set up your brain to think, oh, it's study time, we gotta study, go. That's gonna make things so much easier for you. The next thing you can do is to work in intervals or to chunk your work. If you can break it into pieces, it's a lot easier. Perhaps you have 50 algebra problems to do. Maybe you can just chunk them into 5 or 10 problems at once. What this is going to allow you to do is to gain some momentum. Now, instead of thinking about the entire 50 questions at once, which is kind of overwhelming, you're just focusing on a couple of them, or maybe even just one at a time, just to get started. The next thing that you can do that's really helpful is a reward system. So perhaps you work in 25-minute intervals and then you rest or do something or browse Reddit for 5 minutes. Again, your brain is going to welcome that reward. Your brain is way more willing to perform if it knows there's a reward for it further down the road. A cool way to do this is with the Pomodoro technique, which I am going to do a separate video on. It is a fantastic secret and it works so well. You would be very surprised what you could get done in 25 minutes if you were just dedicated to getting it out of the way. The 5th tip that I have for you is to just do something. Sometimes the hardest part is to just get started. Just start. You have a 1,000-word essay that you gotta do tomorrow? Look, how about you just write the first sentence? You know what? Screw that. Why don't you even just write the first word, the? Try it now. Pause the video and write the first word of that essay or do the first algebra problem. Just do something, get started. On this note, you can also just move. You can physically get up and move around. Your brain can be in the past or it can be in the future, but it's very hard for us to stay in the present sometimes. Our body, on the other hand, can only ever be here now. And so we can hack that by using the body to stretch, move around, maybe even just kind of do this and yawn a little bit. Move your body. It's going to make it a lot easier. The next thing is do not resist. No matter what happens, things you want to avoid is resisting the fact that you feel a lack of motivation, beating yourself up for it. That's not helpful. Do not self-criticize. Do not beat yourself up. If you have a whole bunch of stuff to do, and you don't have the motivation, and then on top of that, you're also beating yourself up and saying, oh, I'm so lazy. I can't get anything done. Why? Like, now you have two problems instead of one. Don't do that. Recognize that you're human and that we're built to conserve energy and that we perform for rewards. And sometimes in academia, the rewards are not really that obvious. So don't resist it. Don't fight it. Understand it and be okay with having some struggles in that area of motivation. We all do. And the final tip that I have for you is to just ask the question, why? Why are you doing this? Do you have an end goal or vision? If you don't have a good why, then you're not going to be able to be productive. Some people say that why equals how. That if your reason behind doing something, if your why is strong enough, then you can tolerate almost any means of how. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time.